been waiting the storm out, and the storm actually has been coming through. So we are sitting here, and I thought I would interview PollyAnna because my brother-in-law was wondering what the backstory was, and I got to thinking, I don't think we've ever told the story of why you're on the trail. Can you?
Yeah, why I'm on the trail. So I was a Girl Scout from 2nd grade to 11th grade. We had a great Girl Scout leader for most of those years. She was my backdoor neighbor, and we used to go camping and hiking. I always loved those adventures to the Girl Scout, Dorothy Thomas Girl Scout camp, right outside of Tampa. And then I liked going with my late teenage and early adult friends for like camping trips with your car. You go to a state park. And I always loved walking around and putting up tents and having a fire and cooking. It was cool. I loved it. It was different. And I took my kids to do that when they were little. And then probably when I was in my 30s, I started reading about hiking the Appalachian Trail. I think Frank and Victoria Logue put the first book out, which I still have. I have a bunch of books about hiking the AT, and every time I read about it, I get excited and think, yes, I could do this. Walk almost 2,200 miles from Georgia to Maine. This would be awesome. And so, over the years, I just kept thinking about doing it. And I just kind of mentioned it to my husband, Bill. And we went on a couple of overnight hikes with rented backpacks and tents. And I think after one of them, he looked at me and said, honey, my idea of outdoors is doing stuff during the day and then staying at a Holiday Inn. Why don't you just plan to do this when I'm dead? And we laughed. It was a good joke. But over the years, I've continued to hike and backpack a little bit with friends and with my son and my grandson. And then when my husband died in 2007, after a couple of years, I started talking about doing it again. And my kids figured out that I was serious. Here we deal with the inconvenience of flickering lights.
The lights are flickering because of the storm.
But, when you're hiking, you don't have any of those conveniences. And they pretty much thought I was nuts. But I told them probably in 2012 that I was going to start hiking the AT the next year. And it was going to be like, I want to have it done by the time I'm 70, like 100 miles a year. So I did about 100 miles a year for 6 years, and then I retired. And I thought, yeah, I want to make this happen. I'm going to get this done. So a few years ago, very wise coworkers advised me to do Maine and New Hampshire before I turned 70. So I'm happy that Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont are pretty much done. And all I have to do now is get from where we sit today in New York into Connecticut and Massachusetts, get all the way up to the Vermont border, and then swing back down and do the last 300 miles of Virginia.
Yeah.
And then I'll be done. It's just been a dream. I wanted to do it, just sort of the whole idea that you could get out and be in nature and walk the whole eastern seaboard. It's been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. The rocks are really hard for me, and oh my gosh, this year the heat has been absolutely unbearable.
So what do you think the best part of the trail is?
So the best part of the trail for me are the people that you meet.
Yeah.
And even during the whole COVID thing, when we're trying to do social distancing and stop doing some of the things we've been accustomed to doing on the trail, not sleeping in shelters very much, trying to stay away from the privies. On the weekends when there are a lot of day hikers out, we want to use our masks. When we're going to town, we always wear our masks. So that's put a little bit of a damper on it, but we've still met so many people. We seem to be hiking in different bubbles, and the people is the most awesome part of it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. So if there's any advice you would give anyone, whether it's a section hiker or a through hiker or somebody that's just going out for the day, what would it be?
Go for it. I mean, you know, a lot of people go on the different forums on Facebook, the women's hiker group and the section hiker group and the through hikers group, and ask for advice, what to do. And I think the best thing to do is do what you're comfortable with. If it's just a day hike of 5 miles, go out and do a day hike. And then if you like it, you want to try an overnight, do a short overnight. You have to remember, and I kind of learned this lesson the hard way, if you don't do this week after week, you don't get your trail legs, and it becomes harder to do long miles. But it's become a little easier for me to do more than 10 miles a day because I've been out hiking for weeks. I mean, yesterday we did 10.9 miles in the morning. We were done at 12:30.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we're going to try to do 18 miles. We're going to do it slack packing.
Yes.
But I'm like excited. I want to give it a go. And so my advice is, you know, follow your heart. Do what you want to do, but be prepared because it is not easy.
Thank you for allowing me to interview you. I've enjoyed being with you. I learn things every day. So thank you very much.
It's been a joy. I've loved hiking with you, Crazy Foot.
Thank you.